Hey guys, it's a new week. I hope you've tried your best on your spiral for this week. Let's go over answers 1 through 4. Number 1, how many pairs of parallel lines? Be very careful. Is this line parallel to this line? Yes, so that is 1 pair. Is this line parallel to this line? Yes, that is another pair. So our answer is 2. For number 2, we are looking at a right triangle. Be careful and don't get confused. We're not using Pythagorean theorem this time because we're looking at degrees. We're looking at the measure of the angles. We know that when we're looking at a triangle, all 3 angles add up to 180. So let's plug in the numbers we know. We know one angle is 26, one angle is 90, and then our other angle we're going to label X because we don't know it. 26 plus 90 equals 116. To get X by itself, we're going to subtract 116 from both sides. When we do that, X equals 64, and our answer is A. For number 3, these triangles are similar, meaning they are changing by the same ratio or same proportion. So looking at our corresponding sides, we see that this bottom line went from 12 to 24. How do we go from 12 to 24? By multiplying by 2. This side and this side are corresponding. How do we go from 11 to 22? Also by multiplying by 2. With that being said, 11 times 2 is 22. So Z equals 22, and our answer is C. For number 4, we do the same thing. Because it tells us these are similar, they're changing by the same proportion. My corresponding sides here at the bottom, 2 became 4. How do we go from 2 to 4? By multiplying by 2. 4 became 8 by being multiplied by 2. So what are we going to do to our 8, which is the corresponding side for this one? 8 times 2, that is 16. Good job. Okay, now we are ready to go over numbers 5 through 8. For looking at number 5, I've already drawn my circles along my transversal because I know that those angles, if I move that circle down, I could lay it on top of this and know my corresponding angles. Let's see if that helps me with this question. The question is measure of angle Z, which is here, plus the measure of what other angle would equal 180 degrees. So we have to think about 180 degrees. We remember that is half of a circle. So if I'm looking at this circle here and I want to look at half of it, I can picture this as a half of the circle. Then that means these 2 angles would be 180 degrees. I could think of this line as being half of the circle, which would mean this one plus this angle would make 180 degrees. So if I move my circle down, Z is corresponding to X. I want to know which angle, when I add it to that, would equal 180. So which 2 angles would be on with my half circle? Well, if I drew this line through my circle, this angle and this angle would be in that half circle and would make 180 degrees. Let's look and see if that's an answer choice, and there it is. So my answer is W. Let's look at the others to make sure we're not missing anything. Did V fit in a half circle? No. There's no line I can draw to put those 2 in the same half circle. What about X? Well, X is a corresponding angle to Z, so the 2 of them would not work either. So I know for certain my answer is A. For number 6, I see I have a right triangle, and I want to know the length of the hypotenuse, which is my X street. I know my two legs, my A and my B, and I've plugged them into my formula. 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. 6 squared equals 36, and 8 squared equals 64. When I add the two together, I get 100. Now, I need to get rid of that square sign, so I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of C squared is C, and the square root of 100 is 10. So my C equals 10, and B is my answer. For number 7, I am looking for a missing angle. So I'm going to plug in what I know. 84 plus 86 plus that missing angle would equal 180. 84 plus 86 equals 170. And I bring down the rest of my equation. Then I'm going to subtract 170 from both sides, leaving me with x equals 10 degrees, and A is my answer. For number 8, again, we have a right triangle, as I see from the square in the corner. So I've written my formula for Pythagoras' theorem at the top. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I don't know my A, so I'll leave it, A squared. My B is 8, so I plug it in, 8 squared. My C is 10, so let me plug that in, 10 squared. Now my question asks which is true. A squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. That's exactly what I have there. 100 plus 64 equals A. That can't be true because you don't add your hypotenuse to a leg. So I'm marking it out. A squared minus 100 equals 64. I wouldn't subtract my hypotenuse from a leg, so I'm marking that one out, and A fits perfect. Okay, now we're going to look at questions 9 through 12. We have a triangle, and the question asks us for the measurement of angle Z, which is our unknown angle. I know that all three angles of a triangle equal 180, so I'm going to write an equation. I'm going to fill in the ones I know, 40, and 20, and whoops, I was going to put X, but you can put Z since that's what it's asking for. I add 40 plus 20 and I get 60 plus Z equals 180 degrees, and then I'll subtract 60 from both sides, leaving me with Z equals 120 degrees. A is my answer. For number 10, we're going to use Pythagoras' theorem. It's already written at the top, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. On this one, I don't know my B, so this number is my B. You are still going to solve it the same way, plugging in what we know. So we know that 12 squared is 144. That blank is our B squared, and 13 squared is 169. I'm going to solve for B. How do I get B by itself? First, I subtract 144 from both sides, leaving me with B squared equals 25. Now to get rid of my square, I will take the square root of both sides. The square root of B squared is B. The square root of 25 is 5. And you'll notice that 5 by itself is not an answer. So let's look at our question again. It has 12 squared plus blank equals 13 squared. What did we write in our blank? B squared. So we need to know B with the square sign. So our answer is B, 5 squared. For number 11, The question is the measure of angle X. That is this angle right here. I don't have enough information to be able to solve that with one step. I don't know both of these angles. I do know that all three of them together would equal 180. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in, 180 degrees. So 75 plus the measure of X plus the measure of Y equals 180. So I'm going to figure out the measurement of angle Y. I know that 120 plus 30 plus Y equals 180. So 150 plus Y equals 180. And then I'll subtract 150 from both sides to give me Y equals 30. Now I can plug that in for my Y. And I have 75 plus X plus 30 equals 180. 75 and 30 equals 105. 105 plus X equals 180. And I can subtract 105 from both sides, which leaves me with X equals 75. And my answer is B.